Hello, so this is a very short video that details how you can use the information from the IB International Baccalaureate about language B orals and tips for the higher level. So first of all, you need to be aware that even though in the higher level you are working mainly with literature, and that literature is linked to the books that you've read in the lessons, you still have to know questions about theme 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, which are the main aspects. So this is an example in French. So you will have theme 1, identity, for the ones who don't speak French here, among which you've got well-being, leisure, for example. Theme 2, experiences, leisure, holidays. Theme 3, human ingenuity, technology, communication, scientific innovation. Theme 4, social organization, relationships. And Theme 5, sharing the planet, which is all about global warming and other issues. This is down to your teacher to choose from. So the only thing that the IB imposes is the 5 themes. But the sub-themes, as you can see there, are depending on your teacher. So those are the ones I cover to the greater extent, but it might not be the same with your teacher. So don't take those for granted. So let's talk a little bit about the exam at higher level. So first of all, the time is a little bit longer than in your standard thing, because you've got 20 minutes of preparation and you have to choose with 300 words extracts from the books that you've read. So you will be provided one from book A and one from book B, and then you'll have to choose what extracts you would like to base your presentation on, which your presentation needs, after 20 minutes, need to last about 3 to 4 minutes. It must depend on the topics that you've learned in class, and also it's not about just the extract, but we're going to talk about that a little bit. It's also about the entire book, so it's about striking the balance between using the extract and also talking about the book overall. Follow-up discussion is also followed on what you've said, is question and answer type of a relationship with the teacher. And then you're going to finally, in the last part, taking part in the discussion. As you can see below there, then it's the student are discussing one of the themes of the syllabus as a starting point of the conversation, and then you can move on. I personally, in my practice, try to link that to your the things that we've done in lessons, or to the extract. So for example, with the extract, there is a link, an obvious link to global warming, then probably the theme is going to be unit 5 or theme 5. Okay. So let's have a look at the criteria. The criteria for language B is the following. In terms of language, you need to have a variety of vocabulary on the topics that you've learned in class, but also arguably on the books that you've read. So what are the key themes in the book? What are the key things that you need to analyze? Also, learn how to describe an extract. Okay, so that's what I mean by learn vocabulary you can recycle. So you need to learn the vocabulary recycle so you can articulate your speaking and prepare for that. Try to also include complex structures. For example, since we've been talking about French, those could be about using the subjunctive tense, the past future, or known as futur antérieur, or using higher and more complex structures such as relative pronoun and C clauses. Okay. Also, it's a speaking exam, but it doesn't mean you cannot correct yourself. If you know you're saying something wrong, you can correct yourself. Also, make sure that you rehearse enough so you make sense and your presentation is articulated with plenty of connectives. Okay. Then you need to practice your intonation and pronunciation if you want to get a top mark. Even if you want a mark at all, actually. Watch out the difference between intonation and pronunciation. Intonation is the kind of structure within a sentence that it sounds like, and pronunciation is within the individual words. So, for example, I speak with a French accent in my pronunciation, in the way I pronounce words, but there are some elements of intonation that are a little bit beyond this. I'm trying to use the same as an English person would do. All right? So it's about sentences and strings of sentences together. Then those are my top tips if you wanted to. So please make vocab sets. All right. Also make list of connectives that you are going to learn and try to use that you know are going to be useful to use in your extract. So for example, you would say, in this extract, I'm going to describe the structure of the theme so I can demonstrate my understanding of the extract effectively. So therefore you can literally put those sentences down that I've just said and learn them by heart and make sure you include them in your speaking. That's what I mean by making connective sets or making lists of connectives. Connectives are words that help you articulate your speaking. Polish your grammar. It also means that it's very important that your tenses are okay, that your verbs are known, particularly the irregular ones, and also that you need to prepare your ideas in advance, because if you turn up to the exam having no idea about what the structure of the book is, or you don't know what's happening when, then you need to have a rough idea about what you're going to say if such or such chapter is going to come. So you need to revise. Then, sorry to break the news, you need to also rehearse, because you need to get ready to prepare and give me a 4-minute presentation on an essay, an extract, sorry. So your extract could be on anything, but you have to know the book enough so you know where the extract fits in, okay? Let's talk about criteria B, which is not language, by the way. It's conversation and literary extracts. So if you look at this, you can see that the candidate makes effective use of the extract. Observation and opinions are effectively developed, so it means you need to extend your ideas, expand, speak about a lot of things, supported with the reference to the extract, and that tells it all. It means that you not only need to describe, sorry, here I've made a mistake as well, describe the extract, make sure that you've got a link with the book and the target culture you're studying, so which is French, link with the topics you've seen in class. That's for the conversation later on, for this aspect, for this criteria. You need to, within that, give opinions, develop answers that are broad, and also lead the conversation. Okay, you also need to, in order to be successful with this, you need to review your extract description skills. You also need to review your questions and ideas that you've seen in class about such chapters. What are the key ideas and the key themes that emerge? And also emit some opinions and try to present those opinions in a suitable way. All right. So that is absolutely crucial for getting the message across. Finally, revise the speaking for 4 minutes. Remember, you've got 4 minutes to present and conversation, and then an extra time of 5 minutes. So you need to continue thinking about what is it that you need to be doing prior to the exam so you can prepare for it effectively. Finally, criteria C, this time, my presentation is completely messed up now, so that's all right. We need to make sure you demonstrate you understand, you have some ideas about the questions, okay? So when I ask you some questions, or when the examiner asks you some questions, or the person sitting with you in the room, because that's not necessarily the examiner, then you need to be able to answer to what they're asking you. So you need to be able to understand, analyze what they want to know, and answer accordingly. You also need to contribute with your own ideas. So it's not only the things that you've seen in class, but it's also your own personal ideas. In order to achieve those two things, I would advise you to do the following. Take notes in class, make a list of questions about the book. So for example, for each chapter that you read, do you know what are the key things? What are the key elements that you've talked about in class when you analyze the chapter to make you understand why is the important bit? So for example, if there is a main character that dies, then why is this person dying? What did the author decide to make it die, and so on? Okay, so that's kind of important, because through those questions and making those list of questions during the time you're analyzing your texts, or when you're making notes in class and from those notes you can make questions, then you can make a list of questions that you think could come up in the exam. And if you prepare your answers and get them checked so you know the grammar is correct, then have got a big head start on being successful for the speaking. Final one is about rehearsing. Try to sit down behind a desk or at home and think about, okay, what if he gave me this page? Or what if my teacher chose that passage? Why not that one? Why is it the end of the book? Is it the middle of the book? You need to be able to situate where the extract is, what are the key themes, and what those are important. And you also, as we've said, for criteria B, is that you need to link that to the overall book, but also you need to comment on the extract itself, because this is the criteria right here. So you've got to be sensitive to that. So on this being said, what you need to be thinking in terms of that exam is that the exam is there to represent the work that you've done during the 2 years. And on one of the books that you've studied, you never know which one's going to be which, and you never know which extract's going to be. So my top strategies would be to revise both books, hoping that you will get an extract on either book to maximize your chances to be able to answer those questions. All right, so this concludes this list of top tips. It's not so much of a short video, but I hope we covered